Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Draw Control Podcast. On today's episode, I'm joined by senior on the Cornell women's lacrosse team, Josie Vogel. In her lacrosse career, has played in 46 games and currently has 83 goals, 25 assists, 108 points, 31 ground balls, and 11 caused turnovers. This allowed Josie to be named to the All-Ivy Honorable Mention team, and in her junior year, she led the team in goals. Before college, Josie was a four-year letter winner at midfield. At Milton Academy, she was elected captain as a senior before earning team MVP honors. She also earned first team All League accolades in her final season, and Josie was named to the Rookie of the Year award as a freshman. And I'm super excited to have her on today. So, welcome to the podcast, Josie, and how is everything going?
It's going well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, how has your summer been going so far, and what have you been up to both on and off the field since the season ended a few months ago?
My summer is going great. I'm actually back up at school right now. I just got up last Sunday, but I was in Boston for the summer. I'm from Chestnut Hill, so I was living at home, and I had an internship in the city, which was really cool, and got to stay a couple nights a week with one of my friends who from high school who has an apartment there. So that was great, and spent a lot of time with my family. Played in a couple scrimmages, worked out in the backyard, which was awesome. Saw some friends from home, which was great.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I guess what did you do during your internship?
I was an investor relations intern at Charles Bank, which is a private equity firm.
Oh, awesome, awesome. I don't know too
Yeah.
much about the finance stuff. I'm still learning about it, but that sounds like a lot of fun for sure.
It was so great. I loved it. I loved the people there. It was awesome.
It must have also been nice to be back home as well for the summer. I don't know how often you get the chance to come back to Massachusetts.
Yeah, it was so great. Yeah, I come back for fall break, Thanksgiving, and winter break. So it's actually pretty nice. So I'm on campus for spring break. That's the only real like vacation
Hmm.
time that I miss.
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah.
nothing like summer in the city, as Hamilton
Yeah.
once said. So, but getting back to sort of lacrosse stuff, what were
Yeah.
some things you guys, I guess, worked on this summer to sort of get ready for fall ball?
Yeah. One thing that I was working on was my shooting and my deception. I felt like that was something that I could work on more coming off of the season last year. So working on trying to fake out the goalie and fake out my defender and shoot around defenders and look off my shots and stuff like that. Those are some of the things I was focusing on in the backyard and in my scrimmages.
And obviously, it's kind of weird to think about this because time flies by so
Yeah.
quickly, but you're going to be a senior this upcoming season. So, have you thought about the leadership that you want to bring towards the team next year? Would you consider yourself more of a vocal leader or lead by example type of player?
Great question. I hope both. Combination of both. I hope to bring positive energy towards the team and serve as a role model, in all moments and in all stages of the season and of this year.
Have you had the chance to meet the freshmen yet?
Yeah, yeah, we've been hanging out with them the past couple of days, which has been great. They're all so great. They're two from Massachusetts, so it's been fun to bond with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hopefully, Red Sox fans, because I feel like your team, there's a lot of New Yorkers there. So I feel like that's got to
Yeah.
be a fun Yankees Red Sox rivalry when you guys talk about that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's some good sports fans on our team, so it's definitely some rivalries.
Now, I want to sort of start off this podcast talking about the beginning of your career and sort of working all the way up to where you are now. So,
Yeah.
obviously, like we've talked about before, you're from Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. So, talk about growing up there and how did you start playing lacrosse?
Yeah, I was born in Los Angeles, which was really cool. And then my family moved to Chestnut Hill when I was 9. And a bunch of my friends from school were starting to play lacrosse in fourth and fifth grade. And my town had a great lacrosse program, Brookline Lacrosse. And I really started playing there with a ton of my friends from school and town and played in the backyard with my younger brothers, which was so great. That's something that I credit a lot of my success to is hours in the backyard with my brothers.
I assume there was no bickering at all that happened during those games.
No, no, yeah. Sometimes my parents would have to break it up if I pushed my brother too hard and now he doesn't push me too hard. But
Yeah,
yeah.
no worries. I understand. I'm the youngest brother in my family,
Oh,
so
gotcha.
so I understand where they're coming from. But what was it like living in California? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. Very, very fond memories of being outside and being close to the beach. I still am in touch with a couple of my friends from out there, which is so great. So yeah, very, very fond memories. Beautiful weather, obviously.
Yeah, I've never been to California, but it's definitely a
Yeah,
place I'd like to visit one day. It looks like a lot of fun.
yeah. It's so beautiful. It's super fun.
Now, growing up, who were some of your favorite lacrosse players and teams that you like to watch?
Yeah, I loved to watch BC and Sam Apuza. It was so cool being so close to BC. I obviously live in Chestnut Hill, so that's great. Love how shifty she is. She has that iconic move behind the net where she just like breaks the defender's ankles, and I remember seeing that and wanting to practice in the backyard. So yeah, love Sam Apuzo, Kayla Trainer. Love her dodges. She's amazing. So I'd say those two.
Yeah, that's definitely an iconic move because I still see
Yeah.
that video pop up on my
Yeah.
Instagram feed. So that's definitely fun one to watch. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like as a kid, your jaw probably dropped to the floor when you first
Yeah,
saw that.
exactly. Definitely. Yeah.
Now, before college, you played for your high school at Milton Academy. So
Yeah.
talk about your lacrosse experience there, what you took away from it, and like what's like your favorite lacrosse memory you have when you look back on your Milton Academy days.
So fun to think about my Milton days. I had such a great group from my grade. So I was class of 2021 and we had, like 8 girls from my grade that were all really into lacrosse, and some of us went on to play in college, and you know, some of us were super athletic and gritty and tough, and made huge impacts in our games. So it was so great to, grow up with all of them throughout the 4 years and get some wins. And I think my favorite memory is we have this blue and orange day every year where we do different games during practice, and it's really fun. We get dressed up in the color, and um now that I think about it, it's crazy. I don't remember how many of those I won or lost, but it was so fun and we were all joking around, and I miss that a lot. But yeah, I loved Milton. It was so great.
How do they choose which color you got to wear? Was it like freshmen and
Yeah,
juniors wore orange and sophomores and seniors wore blue, or did it like
I
rotate
think it
every
was
year?
random. I think it was random, and no, you definitely. I was blue.
Okay.
Um, I
All
was
four
I was blue.
years?
Yeah, all 4 years I was
Okay,
blue.
that's good. That's my favorite color. So, and
Oh,
orange
nice.
is
Yeah.
kind of like one of my not my favorite-ish colors.
Oh,
So you that I would be pretty happy if I got to be blue for 4 years.
yeah. It was nice. It was awesome.
Now, how do you think your sort of time with Milton sort of helped prepare you for college lacrosse with Cornell?
Oh, great question. I think Milton was tough academically, and so I think I learned some time management skills that definitely helped me in college. So that was really, really helpful. And I loved the fact that in, growing up in Massachusetts, playing in tough weather also, helps me now in all my games. So yeah.
Yeah, everyone thinks about the tough Massachusetts winters, but I
Yeah.
think the summers are pretty tough too. It gets humid out
Yeah.
in
No, so
Massachusetts in
true.
July and August, so I feel like you get to experience all different seasons in New England.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I learned about you while doing research for this interview is you also played squash in
Mhm.
high school. I've never heard of that
Yes.
sport, so how do you play it? And what was it like being the captain of the team during your high school years?
It was so I loved squash. I played a lot of tennis growing up, and tennis is a spring sport, so I wanted a place to, use a racket, which ended up being squash. And it's played in a sort of glass box where you hit this small black ball against a wall, and you try to hit it to a place in the box that your opponent cannot return it.
Oh, I feel like I've
So it's
seen
it's
this
pretty it's
before.
pretty intimate. Yeah, yeah. It's really fun. Um, we were a pretty small team, so we got to know I got to, I was really close with the team and was really lucky to be an honor to be captain with also one of my close friends. So that was really fun to get to lead.
That's awesome. Did you win any trophies from your
No,
memory?
no, I actually, was at so the way that the team works is it's a ladder. So it goes like one, two, three, four, just like, and you challenge up and challenge down to see where you are in the ladder. And I was always at the bottom of the ladder. So never had any big trophies, but won some 5 game matches, which are really tough. So you have to win 3 out of 5 and can go to 5 games. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if they had like a duel like in tennis where it was like two people in the same court or not for squash because I know in tennis you sometimes see that.
Hmm. Well, there are 2 people on the court at all times.
I
So
just didn't know if there was like two people on the same team. Like you know how in
oh,
tennis
oh
it's like
yeah, like
duels?
doubles. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Double. No, I think double squash is a thing,
Okay,
actually.
that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But you
And
only
I've
played
never seen it.
single.
I only
Okay.
yeah, I played
Okay.
singles. Yeah, yeah,
That's cool. That's cool though. That's
yeah.
a fun sport. That I
Yeah,
definitely
it
gotta
was
look that
so
up.
fun. I think honestly helped my lacrosse conditioning and
Yeah.
my leg strength. You have to lunge a lot in squash. So
Hand to
um
hand eye coordination too.
yeah, exactly. Hand-eye, 100%.
Now let's talk about your recruiting process with Cornell. How did that look for yourself and what made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at? Because I know committing to an Ivy League is a lot different than committing to another school just because there's no letter of intent that you have to sign, at least from what I've been told.
Yeah, my recruiting process was kind of through COVID, which was interesting. So I was really lucky when I got the call from Coach Grapp and Coach Olin and Coach Corzell at the time. Was, knew that I had one of our family friends, Sophie Ward, she was on the team, and I knew that she had been having an awesome experience and loved her friends and also, we're competing for Ivy championships, and that um, sounded so amazing to me. And I loved, I think one of my calls with Coach Grapp on the phone was like 45 minutes, just her, getting to know me, and I really appreciated that. So yeah.
What was like sort of the biggest adjustment you had to make as a freshman? Because from my memories, you guys had a huge class because some of the class didn't get to play their technically freshman year because of the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
So sort of a big class that you guys
Yeah.
had. So I'm curious sort of how you sort of handled being a part of a big younger sort of team that didn't have as much experience and sort of what you took away from your freshman year and just the adjustments you had to make.
Say the biggest adjustment was the pace of play. It was, the girls are very fast on the teams we play. So I'd say the pace of play was the biggest adjustment. And it was honestly really great to be a part of the big class, more more friends to have and more you know, everyone's going through the same thing at the same time. And so if you're having trouble with, a class, most likely someone else is going to be in that or um and they can help you. So it was nice. It was very nice.
Yeah. And just talk a little bit about what it's like playing in the Ivy League as a conference and just the competition you face each game because I felt like last season, your conference started to put itself on the map with teams like UPenn, Princeton, and Harvard. And it must be sort of cool for your team to gain the chance to play that tough competition each game because it feels like there's no night off whenever I look at your schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. No, the Ivy teams are so good. So it's so cool. It's so great to play against such awesome competition. It makes our team better and me better every weekend and during the week. And it's so great. I know a couple of girls on the different teams, and so it's also kind of like a reunion when we play the different teams. And so um that's another cool part about it.
And how do you learn to balance academics and lacrosse at such a high level at such a prestigious university like Cornell?
It's really nice. We have a lot of resources here at Cornell, and like I said before, I felt like time management is a huge is something that I learned at Milton and really helped me in college. But we have a lot of help at Cornell, a lot of resources, academic advisors, and advisors for the specific college that you're in that can really help you if you're struggling. And all of my teachers have been great about, at the beginning of the semester, if you're struggling, if you need help, come to office hours, we'll make a plan, and that's been really helpful for me.
Yeah. What's been like the coolest class you've ever taken at Cornell? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, great question. I'm just trying to think. Um, I'm part of the liberal arts college, so there's a lot of options and a lot of different requirements. So I'm a government and sociology major, but I've taken classes in a lot of different schools. One of them being the performing arts and media, you know, in that building. And so I took directing, which was really cool, and got to learn about the different skills that directors have to have to develop in order to make amazing plays and movies. And so I think that was a really, really cool class and something that I didn't expect when I showed up freshman year.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Did you get to direct like your own project like at the end of the
Yeah.
semester?
Yeah, exactly.
What was
Yeah.
that? Well,
Mine was an adaptation of The Little Mermaid.
oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. It was
Did,
cool.
so I'm curious, do you have to direct other people in your class or do you have to find
Yes.
other people and
No,
do you
you
have to
direct.
be in other people's projects as
Yes,
well? Okay.
that's exactly how it works. So if you're in a group of three, you direct the other two, then
Okay.
you're an actor in in their plays as well.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. I feel like I would
Yeah,
definitely
it was
embarrass
super cool.
myself as an actor. So hopefully that if I ever had to do that class, hopefully that footage would not be released on YouTube anywhere.
Yeah, it's good character building.
Oh, everyone has it. I had to do an acting class one time in college, and I was like one of the few non-actors in the class, so I
Oh,
felt very out of place, especially when we had to do our final project because I felt like I wasn't as good as everyone else. But like you said, it builds a lot of character, and obviously public speaking is, I think, a big part after you
yes,
graduate with job interviews and stuff like that. So it's definitely a good skill to learn. That it might not seem like it when you're in college, but I feel like it's definitely beneficial after you graduate.
definitely. I agree.
Now, let's get back into your lacrosse a little bit. So, what do you think's been the biggest improvement you made to your game since your freshman year? Because just looking at your statistics, you've gotten a much larger role on the team as you've went along from your freshman year, and obviously the stats show how much better you've gotten over the years. So, I'm just curious, what do you think's been the biggest improvement you've made to your game?
I think one of the biggest improvements I've made is my speed. I think I that was something that I worked on a lot in the off season. I work out at a place called Compete Strength and Conditioning, which has been really helpful for me in working on my first step and my explosion and stuff like that. So um, that's something that has helped me improve. I'd say also getting to know my teammates more and being able to feed off of them and them off of me has helped me improve a ton, and getting more acclimated to Cornell, honestly, and playing more. So
Now, what do you think has been your favorite memory with Cornell so far on the field?
I have to say, we beat Harvard in overtime my freshman year at Harvard, so that was pretty exciting because I was kind of close to home and I had a lot of my family there and friends. So I'd say that's my favorite memory. It was super cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shannon Brazier scored the winning goal. I'll never forget it.
That's awesome. Well, shout out to her because she's
Yeah,
been on
shout
this
out to her.
podcast
Yeah,
before and she killed it with Clemson last season. So,
yeah, she
wishing
totally
her
did.
all the best for her future endeavors if she happens to listen to this episode.
Yes. Hi, Shannon.
Now, let's talk a little bit about next season. Like, have you and the team sort of discussed what your team's goals and expectations are going to be like for next season? And from your perspective, what do you hope your teams and goals and expectations are?
Think the goal is to win the Ivy League. That would be amazing. And showing up to every game, hard work and a positive attitude, and hoping that we can put the work that we do in the off season um, you know, we can show the hard work that we put in the off season in the game. And um, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And is there anything individual you want to see yourself accomplish for next season?
I Going back to the beginning, I hope I'm a leader in all the moments, whether it's, we're beating a team by a lot or we're down or it's overtime. Hopefully I can be a source of strength. So um yeah, and convert also, on
Hmm.
the field. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I enjoy watching you play, so I feel like you're
so
gonna have
nice.
another great season as well. So definitely looking forward to seeing you and your team play next year.
Thank
It's
you.
always a lot of fun, especially because I really like the jerseys. It's very it's one of the one of my favorite jerseys from the Ivy League.
Nice. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. I agree. I agree.
It's either that or Princeton because I like
hmm
even though I say I'm not a big orange fan, I feel like they make the orange work, especially with the black. I think that's a cool color combination.
Yeah, that is cool. Really cool.
Well, let's transition now to a segment I like to call the non-lacrosse segment, where I ask you
hmm
some non-lacrosse questions to hopefully get to know you a little bit more off the field. So, first
Awesome.
one is if there was a movie made about your life, Josie, who would you want to play yourself?
I would say Anne Hathaway. I really like some of the movies that she's in, and like Ocean's 8 and Devil Wears Prada. And so I think she would be a fun person to play me.
That's a good choice. I recently just
Yeah.
saw The Princess Diaries for the first
Yes,
time,
yeah,
and
I love Princess
I thought that
Diaries.
was a very fun movie to
Yeah,
watch.
I
Hopefully,
love
they make a
it.
third one. And
Yes, I think they are. Yeah.
because I wasn't a huge fan of the second one. I thought the
Oh,
first one
okay.
was a lot better. So hopefully they
Okay.
can sort of make a third one to sort of tie in it all in together, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think they are. I heard that they're making a third one. I could be wrong, but
Oh, well, I can't wait to see it when it
yeah.
eventually comes out. So
Me too.
I would say for me, actor probably like I feel like Tom Cruise would be super cool, but he's also like 50 years older than me, so I feel like that would be
Yeah.
kind of tough. But maybe like Andrew Garfield. I always like his
Oh,
movies, so I'll go
nice.
with him.
Gotcha. Love it.
Now, what holiday is the most underrated and what's the most overrated holiday in your opinion?
Oh, this is a tough question. Love all holidays. I'd say I don't think it's underrated, but it never disappoints. I'd say Christmas. I'm sure that's a popular answer.
Yeah.
And then overrated, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of horror and scary, so I'd say maybe Halloween. I do enjoy Halloween. I like dressing up and stuff like that, but um I'm not a huge fan of all the scary horror
Yeah.
stuff. So
I just feel like once you're older, you can't trick or treat anymore, and that's the best
yeah,
part about the
exactly.
holidays.
Yeah.
So I'll go. I'd say Halloween's. I'd say for
Yeah.
me, usually New Year's Eve because
Oh, okay.
I feel like you're just waiting for a clock to turn midnight. Like
Oh,
it's not
yeah.
as fun, I guess, as some of the other holidays
hmm
because I stay up to midnight most nights, so it's not really anything special.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I would say underrated, I'd go with like 4th of July. I feel like
Mm,
that's a fun one. And it's
yeah.
just cool to sort of just enjoy the summer and see fireworks out in the sky.
Yeah. Love fireworks. It is a nice time during the summer too.
Now it's back to school season, so what is your
Yes.
back to school advice for any college students listening to this?
Oh, that's such a great question. Back to school advice. I'd say push yourself to say yes to things that you normally wouldn't. I didn't think that I had it in me to take a directing class, and then I did it, and
Hmm.
it's been such a cool thing to talk about and think about. Um, yeah, make as many friends as possible. Push yourself.
Yeah.
I guess that's my back to school.
Mine's kind of, I don't know if I feel like mine is just wait until you know what your classes are going to be after the deadline drops before you get textbooks. I feel like a lot of universities like
Ah,
tell you like to get your textbooks first day of class, but I always feel like it's better just to wait to see if one, if you're going to take the class, and two, if you actually need the
ah,
textbook or not, because it's a good way to save money. So
yeah.
that's my
Textbooks are so
advice.
expensive.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I feel like any way you can save money is important because those textbooks can cost a lot of money, but
Yeah.
sometimes you do need them. So
Yeah.
you
True.
usually know first day of class though. That's sort of my advice.
It's funny.
Now, what has been the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
Another one of your podcast guests, Hillary Hoover, she and I text each other quotes sometimes. We're both like quotes. And she sent me an awesome like a quote that she saw on Instagram or something like that. And it said, it was like, don't sweat the small stuff. Um, because if you're sweating the small stuff, it's becoming like a bigger part in your life than it needs to be. And I really like that. So thank you, Hillary.
That's a good quote. We'll give her a shout out as well, former
Yeah.
podcast guest and former captain as well. So that's
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
Now, speaking of Hillary Hoover, which player on the Cornell women's lacrosse team has the best off
Yeah.
the field style?
I'm sure people have said her before. I
Oh
agree.
yeah,
She
Shannon
she
Fraser said it was Hillary Hoover. I asked
Oh,
Hillary that question. I forgot who she mentioned, but I know
yeah.
most players mention her when I asked that question.
Yeah, she has great style. Love her style. Say one of my good friends, Alessia Packard. I love her outfits. I think she is great style. Um, Lucy Gomez, sophomore. Love her style too. So many, all of my teammates, honestly. Love all their
Hmm.
styles.
That's good. That's good. You
Yeah.
could argue that. Would you argue that Cornell is the best dressed team in all of college lacrosse?
Yes, I think I could get behind that,
That's good.
definitely.
That's
Yeah.
good. They should have that like as an award somewhere. I feel like that would be a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
that would be
So
that would be cool. Definitely.
now, if you could watch only one movie for the rest of your life, which movie would it be?
My favorite movie of all time is The Sound of Music. I've watched it since I was little and it brings back so many, fond memories of my family and I love the music. So it's also really long. So I think that would also be a good one to pick. So yeah,
Yeah.
Sound of Music.
I would say Miracle. I just
Oh
like that
yeah,
movie
good movie.
because I love hockey. It's super inspiring and like I find it kind of funny because I can quote a lot of stuff from it. So
Ah,
that would be my pick. It's a good movie that's inspiring, not too long, not too short. I feel like
yeah,
it's sort of the perfect movie to watch. And if there was only one movie I could watch for the rest of my life, that's probably the one I would pick.
nice. Have you been to Lake Placid?
I have not been to Lake
Hmm.
Placid, but I'd love to go one day.
Nice. Yeah.
Have you been? I assume you've been there before because it's sort of nearby Ithaca.
Yeah, I went with actually my teammates for the summer before my our freshman year to play in a tournament with the grade below us, which
Oh,
was
that's
really
cool.
great. Yeah, all got to play together. So our
I
team
feel,
was the Go GBR, Go Big Red team.
oh,
It
that's
was awesome.
cool. I
Yeah.
feel like your hockey team should play a game there once a year. I don't know if
Yeah,
they
they
do or
do.
not. Oh, they
They do.
do?
Yes, yes. Or that's where the um I think ECAC
I know they
finals or
do the yeah,
championship.
they do the
Yeah.
championship there every
Yeah.
4 years, but I feel like they should have a game against Clarkson there like
Yeah,
every
that
year. I
would be
feel like that would
cool.
be a lot
Yeah.
of fun. Two New York teams battling out Lake Placid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like that's just a suggestion. They probably won't listen to this, but I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, that would be cool. I agree.
I've only been to one Cornell hockey game, Josie. It was at Madison Square Garden. My
Nice.
parents went to UConn, so we're big UConn athletics
Oh
fans.
my
And we went to the
gosh.
game at Madison Square Garden. There was no UConn fans there. It felt like we're surrounded by Cornell people, and they got lost 6-0. And
Yeah.
your fan base is very, very vocal. We got a lot of stuff yelled at us, but it was a good time being in New York. But man, that was a tough game for me.
Yeah. I think I watched that one online. Definitely cheering from home. I'm sorry about that. That was definitely tough for the UConn fans.
For sure, for sure. But I did watch. I should have gone the one last year against BU because then I wouldn't
Mhm.
have cared who won, and that was a fun game to watch on
Yeah, I
online.
went to that one. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Great to be a part of the Big Red fan base.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I feel like that's a fun rivalry with you and BU. So now,
Definitely.
last non-lacrosse question I just want to ask you was, what is one item on your bucket list that you hope to accomplish one day?
One of them was being on a podcast, so I can check that one off.
I'm
But
happy to
I'd
help
say I've
that
always wanted
goal.
to, yeah, thank you. I've always wanted to see the Taj Mahal. It's so see one of the wonders of the world, and it's like the architecture is nothing I've ever seen before. Something that, yeah, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, I think for me, just travel more.
Yeah.
specifically in North America, because I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff to see here that I haven't seen before, and it's sort of close by. So I feel like I should try to do that um, now before I get old and can't have the chance to
Yeah.
do that anymore. So that would be sort of my on my
Yeah.
bucket list.
That's cool. I've always wanted to see Mount Rushmore too.
I have, but I feel like it's once you see it, it's like, oh, that's cool, and that's about it. Like, I don't know what else
Yeah.
there is to do around there. I feel like Grand Canyon would be number one for me because there's a lot of stuff to see in that area, or like one of the national parks, like Yosemite is the one
That
that
would be
looks super
cool.
nice in California. I'd love to check that one out, or the Redwood Forest, something like that.
Oh, yes, the Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go there too. Cool.
Well, one last question for you, Josie, before we end things off is what should be done to help grow women's lacrosse from your perspective?
I think, playing in places where it's not as popular. It's cool I think the U20 US team is in Hong
Hong
Kong right
Kong.
now.
I love it, but at the same time, I can't watch any games because it's like at 2 in the morning
Yeah.
here. So it's like it's hard to watch some of those games.
Yeah, definitely. That's I think, playing in places where it's not as popular, exciting girls about the sport. I think the Olympics is going to be amazing for lacrosse, so
I'm
super
excited about
excited
that
about
too.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Just putting in different areas to help make it grow. Like I think that'll be cool. Like maybe you guys can play a game in Florida and that'll
Yeah.
be like a way to grow the game because people can get excited to see a game. I don't know. I feel like different in-season tournaments, like doing at non-traditional markets, will definitely help the sport grow and get more fans from those different areas where lacrosse might not be popular to want to play it in the future. And that's sort of how you get it to grow because it's popular in the East Coast, but I feel like it should try to grow more out in different parts of the USA.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy. I feel like I've seen it grow a little bit just um in my career, I guess.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
definitely
really
gotten
cool.
bigger. Yeah, for sure. I feel like you're starting to see more out in the West Coast, but it seems I feel like you got to try to like South. That's like the next spot because there's so many good schools out there, and I'd love to see an SEC of lacrosse. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I like that. That would be amazing. Yeah.
Well, Josie, do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody on your team or any family members and friends? And who should we have on the podcast next?
Oh, yeah. Shout out to my family. Thank you so much for always supporting me, and shout out to my brothers for playing with me in the backyard always. And my teammates. Love you all. Um, who should you have on the podcast next? I'd say Lucy Dwyer. She's one of our captains this year. She's one of my good friends. I love talking to her about lacrosse. She's super passionate, and I think she'd be a great person to have on the podcast. So I'd say Lucy Dwyer.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Josie, for coming on. I really appreciate it. I think you're a great player.
Thank
I think you're an
you.
even better person as well. So I just want to let you know that. And I wish you and your team all the best for next season.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun.